Now we will discuss the nature of language. The nature of language has the following components: grammar, function, structure, and process. By grammar, we mean the language that has a grammar, and grammar which deals with phonology, syntax, and semantics. Phonology, as we all know, refers to the sound system. Syntax deals with the sentence structure, and semantics has everything to do with the meaning the language conveys. This takes us to competence and performance. And under that, we have linguistic competence and linguistic performance. By linguistic competence, we mean the mastery of linguistic rules, language rules, being able to know what rules convey what. And linguistic performance is the ability to communicate appropriately in a given context. Function is a description of how sentences and utterances communicate. Every utterance or every sentence which is written or being spoken needs to convey a particular message. So function is what particular function that utterance or sentence performs. The structure is the complete grammar of a language which has phonology, phonetics, syntax, semantics, pragmatics, as well as syntax. The process is the description of mental tools, materials and procedures that people use in order to convey a particular message. So mental tools can be in the form of visuals, images. Material can be books, textbooks, or any channel that people use for delivering or conveying a particular message. Under this nature of language, we have certain factors that psycholinguistics includes. One is language processing. Language processing refers to reading, writing, speaking, listening, and memory. For instance, how words on paper are turned into meaning in the mind. So that basically takes care of by language processing. Second is lexical storage and retrieval. That is the way words are stored in our minds and the way they are used. That is how we are able to map words onto objects such as ball and actions such as kick. So basically, mapping of words onto objects comes under lexical storage and retrieval. Then we have language acquisition. That is how language is first learned and used by children. For example, learning the rules of grammar and how to communicate with other people. Then we have special circumstances, which is how internal and external factors can impact language development. Internal is something which is within individual, and external factors are the factors that are there in one's surroundings. And they can also be seen in the example of twin languages. For example, two languages that are being acquired, the influence of hearing and vision impairment on language acquisition, and how damage to the brain can affect certain aspects of language. Then we have the brain and language. This is also very interesting, and it refers to basically the evolutionary explanation of why humans have the capacity to use language and the parts of the brain concerned with different areas of language, also considering whether or not non-human animals have the ability to use language too. So the brain and language looks at these kinds of phenomena, that what parts of the brain are concerned with the language, and not only the human, in the situation of animals, do they have the ability to use language too? Last but not the least is the second language acquisition and its use. Now this looks at the phenomena of bilingualism. That is how individuals can learn a second language and are able to differentiate between them So monolingualism, as we all know, deals with one language, a speaker who has the ability to speak only one language. But bilingualism is something that looks at how different individuals can learn a second language and how they can differentiate between the two, that okay, in terms of their using of the language, in terms of expressing themselves, how can they differentiate between two different types of grammatical structure of two different languages. To conclude, psycholinguistics is an area of study which draws from linguistics, that is the study of language, and psychology, which is the study of behavior and mind, and focuses upon the comprehension and the production of language. So it is not only one area that it studies, it looks at the language as well as the human mind, and how in collaboration with each other, a human mind as well as the language aspect, an individual produces, understands and acquires a particular language.